Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on the 1 day time frame, because currently, guys, we are still below this descending trend line in the Bitcoin price. And today we saw some massive volatility here on the lower time frames, starting, for example, on this 4-hour time frame, where first since yesterday we continued to dump to the downside, reaching deep into oversold territory as low as about 20 on the RSI. But from there, we actually started correcting back up to the upside, where we saw this massive 9% move to the upside. Now, as you can see on this 4-hour time frame, we got a rejection from this Fibonacci golden pocket sitting at about 80.2k, and right now Bitcoin is holding above this 0.382 Fibonacci level, sitting at 78,000. So if we now get a candle close below that 78k level, well, at that point I would be expecting a further move to the downside, perhaps down to this 0.236 Fibonacci level, sitting at 76.7k. This is still clearly just a downtrend on the 4-hour time frame. So overall, I mean, this is some extremely volatile price action, but we are now able to start drawing trend lines here. So we are getting some structure back in the charts at this point. Besides that, on the RSI momentum indicator, which is also in a downtrend at the moment, we are now pretty close to actually seeing another touch with this trend line here. So it would be interesting to pay attention to this over the next 24 hours or so to see how this RSI is going to react. But besides that, for now, a rejection from here is still completely on the table because we are still in this downtrend. So make sure to pay attention to that again over the next 24 hours or so. Next, we should also be taking a look at this 1-hour time frame, because here we saw this falling, broadening wedge pattern, which we broke to the upside of and immediately shot past this price target. Again, right to this descending trend line that I talked about on the 4-hour time frame as well. And besides that, we should, of course, be expecting resistance here and have a bearish bias at the moment, meaning that I think it is more likely that we are going to break a level of support than a level of resistance. But either way, you could pay attention to this short-term ascending trend line on the 1-hour time frame as some potential short-term support. And you can see on this 30-minute time frame as well that we are currently trading at this trend line. So if we start breaking below this, likely we will get another move to the downside, although we haven't confirmed a breakdown below yet. So a bounce is still possible here. Overall, on this daily time frame, which by the way, I can get rid of this Fibonacci level here because we made a low below this previous low, I'm still bearish bias here on the 1-day time frame because we are still below the descending trend line, and therefore technically I am forced to be bearish. But even with me being bearish on the 1-day time frame here, there is still plenty of opportunity in my case for leverage trading to take advantage of these big moves in the market at the moment. Now, let's take a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, because we have now finally taken out this big pocket of liquidity sitting at around 70.3k. And this is great news for me personally, at least, because every day I did not talk about this. I would get comments asking me to talk about it every single day. So now I am finally free. Either way, so we took out this big pocket of liquidity, which means that right now, guys, most of the liquidity is actually to the upside. Now, yes, there is liquidity as low as, let's say, 73k. You have another little pocket here at 72, roughly speaking. But then there is a big gap until we actually get to 64,000 in the Bitcoin price. So what you really want to see, guys, is on this 1-month time frame, for example, you do not want to see us breaking down below 70k, because at that point the gig is really up. Likely at that point we would start reaching down towards this 60k level. So even with my bearish bias, I think it would be really bad for Bitcoin if we break down below this 71, roughly speaking, thousand US dollar level. That would be really seriously bad. And besides that, on this 1-week time frame, we also got a candle close on top of this ascending trend line. So it remains to be seen if we are actually going to be closing the week down below this trend line here, because closing above this wouldn't really be the end of the world. In fact, it would probably look pretty bullish here on the weekly time frame if we get some kind of strong bounce off of this. But if we close the week below, then it starts to get a little bit more sketchy. We might have to entertain the idea of getting a harder retest of these previous highs. Now for today, I don't have any data from the Bitcoin ETF flow tables because of course they started trading on Monday again. So tomorrow I'm going to check back in with this and then we'll see what the Bitcoin ETF traders are doing. Either way, this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.